Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in. I am Natasha Ewing-Johnson, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. Super excited to share with you today. We're talking about building a home. Have you dreamed about building your own home? Don't know how to get the process started. And we are doing a series on how do we go about doing that. And one of the first things that you can do is get what we call a construction-to-perm loan. And I am super excited that I have one of my preferred lenders, Summer, on the line with me today, and she's going to be sharing some information about the construction-to-perm loan, what it is, how we go about doing it, the benefits of doing it, because if you're looking to build your dream home, we have the ideal solution for you, and that's starting with a construction-to-perm loan. Summer is well respected in the industry. She is what I call a super fantastic lender, and she is going to be sharing all of her value-added information to get you started on the construction-to-perm loan. So welcome, Summer. So let's talk first about what the construction-to-perm loan is, and how do we transition into a construction phase, and how a person can use that and leverage that particular product in order to enable them to build their dream home.
Hey everybody, Summer here. Great to meet everyone. So we love the one-time close construction-to-perm loans. So basically what the one-time close part of that means is you're not having to pay attorney fees up front and at the end when it becomes a permanent loan, which we love that. We love saving money, right? But we also love being able to build our dream home exactly how we want it, exactly where we want it, whatever that may look like for you. And we have the loans to help you do that. So when starting, the first step is always to basically get a pre-approval. That way we're kind of knowing, all right, how much can we spend on land? How much can we spend on the house? How much can we spend on, the extra knobs in the kitchen or whatever it may be that, you're really wanting in the home, and we can kind of start figuring out a budget. So that would be the first step. We typically start off with a soft pull, so it doesn't hurt your credit score or anything like that. And we work up from there and making sure that the loan ends up working out for you and what you're wanting.
So who typically can qualify? What are the qualification requirements for one of these loans?
So it's pretty much just like getting any other mortgage. We have conventional options, VA options, FHA options, so on and so forth. So depending on how much home you're looking to purchase, if you're looking in those conforming loan limits, you can do like a 5% down and still be able to build your dream home, which is amazing. I mean,
it's amazing. 5% down. Dang. Okay.
Yes.
So I don't have to put, $250,000 down to build my dream home. I can get started with just 5%. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for everybody to achieve those goals.
So tell me, how, in terms of interest rates, because like right now where we are in the market, interest rates are relatively high. How does a construction loan compare to a regular loan? Is the interest rates higher or about the same?
So they're typically a smidge higher. It's typically not a make or break difference. Mm-hmm. Now on the FHA loans, whatever rate you have is the rate that you're going to have whenever you are done and you get the certificate of occupancy and you go into that perm. But after 6 mortgage payments, we typically refinance people anyways and get them a lower rate. On the conventional loans, it's really cool. We actually, once it gets to the perm part, the rate floats down to the market rates. Nice. So let's say you have an 8 or 9% construction rate. Whenever we're ready to get to the perm, you get the certificate of occupancy, all of that good stuff, you're going to be floating down to whatever the rates are in the market during that time. And let's say they were somehow higher, you're not going to float up. You're going to be you have a float down option, but you would be at the rate that you're at if rates were to go up higher than that.
So let's talk about the construction to perm process. So the way that it works is that basically, typically, there's 3 draws. Initially, you can incorporate the purchase of the land as well as the estimate for building the actual property, correct, into this process? Or if you already have the land, how does that work in terms of the process itself?
Yeah, so we can actually do like 12 draws if you wanted. It's really up to the builder and how they want to spread out the draws. But the land would be the first payoff if you were to be purchasing land as part of your one-time closed construction loan. If you already own land, you can actually use that land to cover your down payment and closing cost.
Nice.
Yeah, so let's say a couple of years back you found an amazing piece of land and you've just been sitting on it and you paid cash for it, or you paid off the loan that you had on it, or what have you. We could use that equity and put that towards down payment and closing costs. Or let's say you bought it with a loan, you've paid off some of that loan, so you have some equity now, but you still owe a little bit. We can use some of that equity still to cover stuff, whatever it ends up kind of working out to be. But we would roll the rest of that other loan into the new loan to pay that off as well.
So are you paying a mortgage payment at this point, or just the interest on the property until we actually have that final draw?
So it depends on the loan program and the client's preference. On conventional, you're going to have interest-only payments on the draws. So, for example, if you already own the land and you didn't need to pay that up front, your beginning draws are going to be little to nothing. And then, so your payments are going to be little to nothing. And then as you go, the amount would obviously increase. VA, we actually put a whole year worth of, or however long the construction is, of the payments into the loan. So you are paying, you're not really making the payments, but the payments are being made for you with the loan. So whenever you get the, let's say you have a year worth of construction, whenever you start your perm part, you are actually at 29 years left on that mortgage.
Nice. That is
and then
awesome.
Yeah, and then FHA, you have the option. You can either make the payments or you can put it into the loan.
Wow. So it's basically working with an experienced lender like yourself to kind of discuss what the options are available, what will work best in your particular financial situation, and to come up with a plan or a strategy to help you or enable you to build that dream home. So let's talk about, like, I know in some entities require like the builder to be approved. Is there an approval process for the builder? What if I wanted to build a house with my own 2 hands, for example? Can I do that? How do we go about, what are the building requirements that are associated with these loans?
So we would get the builder approved. We want to make sure that your builder is legit, that he's not going to take the money from your draw and run off or anything like that. We make sure that they have the right insurance. Heaven forbid, there's a fire while constructing or anything like that. We make sure that they have insurance. We make sure they have experience doing, the type of build that you're looking for them to do, stuff like that. You cannot build a house yourself. Unfortunately, I get asked this a lot. Even if you are an experienced builder, you cannot build your own home unless it's an investment property. And at that point, you could build a house.
Yeah. So what kind of construction plans, et cetera, are required by the lenders up front? Do I have to have all of the specifications for the house up front?
No, so typically we're going to get you pre-approved. That way we kind of have an idea, because heaven forbid you pick out this multi-million-dollar mega mansion build and you don't qualify for that. And now we got to kind of take out the really nice windows and those golden knobs in the kitchen, and that's never fun. I don't want to do that. I'd rather get them pre-approved, and then we work up from there on, all right, we can build a 5-bedroom house, we can build this, we can build that. We have the extra money for those fancy knobs, you know, whatever it may be. So yeah, so typically we want to get pre-approved first, then we kind of start working with the builder, figuring out how much the land is going to cost, and kind of moving from there.
So how does the lender ensure that the construction project stays on track to completion? Are there checks and balances you have in place, or do I, as the buyer, have to manage all of that process?
No, so we would not expect a buyer to be able to manage something as large as a home construction, especially their own. That just sounds extremely stressful. So how it kind of works is they have draws, and then we have draw inspections. So we're making sure, okay, the money was put, you know, where it's supposed to be, and then we kind of work like that. We typically will build in an extra month or two on how long we allow for the construction. We can get extensions on that as well if you know, we hit hurricane season and life is crazy and all that, and we can't build
in like we are today. Yeah,
right, exactly. You know, nobody's building right now in this 14-degree weather or whatever it is right now, but heaven forbid Mother Nature happens and we do need some extra time. We can build that in, and we can get an extension if needed. But the draws and draw inspections typically keep everybody on a good track, unless
and accountable, right? So
yeah.
What should buyers expect for the closing phase of the construction? So once we go through a regular closing, from pre-approval to actually closing on the construction loan, how long generally does that take?
So that's kind of up to the client and the builder, because we do need a lot from the builder. We need to know an itemized breakdown of where all of the money is going to be. Like, here is framing, here is doors, here is windows, so on and so forth. And then we do build in a contingency on, in case, you know, the price of lumber goes up or whatever it may be. So that is also built in. And then typically you're looking at a 45 to 60 day close from the time of figuring out the land, if you need to purchase the land, and getting the builder figured out and kind of an idea of how much you're going to be spending with the builder.
Wow, that's really good information to have. So typically, once the construction phase is completed, what does it look like from a buyer perspective once they receive the certificate of occupancy? What happens next?
So the builder will put in for final funding. They will basically let us know everything's done. Here's the certificate of occupancy. We'll do a final inspection, make sure, you know, the house that was supposed to be built was the house that was built, and all that good stuff. And then from there, the buyer will get a mortgage statement, and it'll let them know what they're going to be paying for the next 30 years, until they sell, refi, or whatever.
Do they have an appraisal done at the end, or is that part of the process at all? No?
No. So there's an appraisal done up front with all of the builder's information and the floor plans and all that good stuff. And they take that information and look at the land and get a value from there. The final inspection is more making sure everything was done the way that it was supposed to.
Okay, awesome. What advice would you give borrowers considering a construction-to-perm loan?
There is a lot of moving parts, so be patient and get started with me as soon as possible, because sometimes they do have some extra credit requirements, like the scores have to be a little bit higher than your typical conventional or FHA loan or what have you. So getting with me and making sure that, you know, everything is in place and our ducks are in a row, and figuring out where you're going to live during this time, especially if you're selling a home, to build this home, like what does that in between time look like? And just kind of working from there. And I mean, I tell people, chat with me even a year before you're thinking about doing something. Is the sooner the better for everybody.
And how can borrowers ensure they're choosing the right lender? Like, how do I know that you're the right person for me? What am I looking for? I've never done this before.
Yeah, so Mortgage Pro has been voted best in Georgia for the past 2 years, so that does give us some good street cred. But we also work with multiple different construction lenders, so being able to know which path you need to go and knowing that you have, you know, if you don't fit in this lender's box, you may fit in this lender's box. And being able to know that your broker has those options is always a really great thing, because otherwise you go to somebody and they only have this box over here and they're like, oh, nope, you can't do it. You don't fit in this box. Well, you fit in this box over here and we can still make your dreams happen. So having those options and knowing that your mortgage broker has different options is always a great thing.
So can you lock in the rate for a construction loan? Is that something that you can do? Yeah. You can do a rate.
Yes.
So just similar to what you would do, or can you buy down the rate, for example? Is there a buy down option as well? Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you're looking at a construction loan, there is so much value to ensuring that you're first partnering with the right lender. Of course, partnering with a real estate professional like myself that knows the process and can help you navigate some of the pitfalls or potential issues that you may run into, and help you guide you through the entire process. So as a buyer, having those right resources, correct resources in place, definitely a value benefit. So if you're thinking about purchasing your dream home, listen, you've got someone like Summer Britt or myself, Natasha Ewing Johnson, here in the Metro Atlanta area. We've got solutions that will help you accomplish your ultimate dream. So whatever your next chapter is, reach out to us today. You're going to find our contact information in the link below. We would love to connect to you to help you get started on the process today. With that said, thank you for joining us. And if you have additional questions, we'd be more than happy to help you accomplish your real estate dreams.